Hi, it's Rainbow Rocks Beauty. Today's video is on contouring for fair skin. It's kind of all about like the shade of contouring you're using along with the shade of blush and the shade of highlight. I'm also going to go a little bit in depth on different things you can do in contouring and highlighting based on the shape of your face, whether it's like the actual shape or the size of your forehead or things like that. So if you're interested, just keep watching and don't forget to subscribe. The contour shade I'm using is NYX HD Blush in Taupe. It's the best shade ever. Like, I'm serious. There's nothing that tops this color for fair contouring. It's cool toned without being overly gray. It's pigmented and easy to blend, and it's only like $6, so I suggest that you pick this up as your first step to perfect contouring. So for a brush, I'm using my Sigma F40. I like it because it's angled and elliptical in shape, so it can fit perfectly into the hollow of the cheek and make that perfect smoked out line. I'm going to take this nice and slow. First, pick up the product. I usually dab the brush into it like 3 times and then just dab it at the top of the cheekbone. As you can see, the bottom of the little blob lines up with the top of the ear, so if you have like a more roundish face like I do, that's a good place to start. As long as you're happy with that placement, start dragging it down toward the corner of the mouth. I hold the brush so that the side that makes that really harsh line is pressed against my skin more closely than the side on top. Then I just continue to move the brush up and down until the product is dispersed from the hairline to about the center of my cheek area. Then I just wipe any excess off the brush and blend the top. Just literally use circular motions and swirl the brush against that edge until it's all nice and blended into the skin. So again, on the other side, dab at the top of the cheekbone, drag it downward, disperse the product, and then blend the top. As you can see, I didn't get my bottom line as sharp on this side, which is okay. What I did is turn the brush so that the tip has some product on it and trace out that line to make it just as sharp as the other side. Also notice that when I blend, I hold the brush on the ferrule because it gives me more controlled movements. My last trick for my cheekbones is to take product on the tip and just dab it right into the hollow of my cheek. This creates an effect of kind of having dimples, even though I don't, because a little bit more product is concentrated there and it ends up being darker, which makes it appear slightly deeper. For the forehead, I only do a tiny bit because my forehead is pretty medium-sized, so I just literally dab the product right against the top of my right and left hairline and blend it down, staying against my hairline into my temple area. I usually only dip the brush into the product once for each side. A quick word on different shapes of face. If your face is pretty long, you'll want to angle your cheekbone contour more horizontally to stunt the length of your face a little bit. And vice versa for a short or a really square face, you'll want to angle it at a pretty harsh diagonal. For a large forehead, you'll want to contour along your entire hairline and blend it pretty far downward to make your forehead appear smaller. You'll also want to bring the product on your temples in as far as you can. If you have a really far protruding chin, you don't like how prominent it is, you'll want to blend some product directly underneath the chin and blend it upwards so it lessens the appearance of some of that chin. Next, moving on to the lips. We contour the lips to make them seem more full, and like the space where we contour is a shadow from the fuller lip. So first, I place a line of product right in the center of my Cupid's bow with just a dense pointed brush. You don't need much powder for this. Then I place some underneath my lip in a round shape at the top of my chin. Very little product for this as well. And then I just grab a fluffy brush. I always use my Sigma E70. And I just swirl and blend at those two areas until the product is diffused into my skin. And next I start on the nose. Grab a brush that you can make precise lines with-ish and start tracing the sides of your nose. I bring those lines in pretty far because the top of my nose is really wide, so to narrow it out I get that line on the side and bring it in. I always focus a lot on that upper middle section because I have like a defect there and it juts out even wider at that part. Anyways, connect it all the way up in its natural contours where it goes under the brow and bring it straight down to the tip of your nose. Next, you're going to draw back and trace along the triangle on the side of your nose, making sure to fill where it dips on the side as well to stunt the wideness on the side of the nose. Next, underneath the tip, draw a curved line to stunt the length of the nose, connecting the two first lines that you created, and then just blend. I'm back with the Sigma E70, just using circular motions on the side and underneath. And then when I get to my lines on the side, I just move the brush up and down. Really just work at this until all the harsh lines are gone and until your nose like truly looks naturally more petite. Next, for blush. For fair skin, I'll always recommend a matte pinky peach blush. These two are the best there is. They're nearly dupes for each other. This is MAC Melba and Palladio Peach Ice. The difference is $10, and Peach Ice is a teensy bit more pink, but they're both gorgeous and wonderful quality. I like using my EcoTools round powder brush because it domes slightly on the top so it doesn't put the product on too large of an area. Blush is pretty simple to apply. Just pick up a small amount of product and swirl against the top of your cheekbone. I usually focus it above the hollow of the cheek and blend side to side towards the apple of the cheek and back toward the hairline. The key to keeping your blush muted and natural is not using too much product. That's when it starts to look clownish. Finally, how to highlight fair skin. Let's be real, like our only option is white because that's the only thing that actually is lighter than our skin. Obviously it will look balm with some shimmer, so pretty much any shimmery white powder eyeshadow will do. I'm addicted to my Physicians Formula Eye Brightener in the shade Natural Eye Light because it has flecks of skin neutralizing colors like yellow and green, so it looks really good on the complexion. I use my e.l.f. blush brush, which is a paddle shaped brush with a lot of give, so it's perfect for applying a highlight. It doesn't take too much powder to apply it since the shimmer will catch light no matter what. So just apply it above your blush at the top of the cheekbone, making sure to move the brush back and forth a few times to eliminate any possible harsh lines. Again, if you've got a long face, angle your highlight more horizontally, and for a short, round, or square face, get a nice sharp diagonal going parallel with your contour. I have a fairly normal sized forehead, like I said, so I just go ham highlighting that shit because I think a super dewy, shimmery looking forehead is super gorgeous. If you have a small face, you'll want to skip the contour and really just highlight that entire forehead really strongly, and for a huge forehead, avoid highlighting it at all. For the Cupid's bow, I just take my finger with a teensy bit of powder and run the product down both sides. Fingers are amazing blenders, so as long as you don't use too much product, you should be okay when you place it. And lastly, for the chin, I just dab product, focusing most of the color deposit right up underneath where I placed some contour earlier, right below the lips. If you've got a larger protruding chin, avoid highlighting it as that can make it appear even larger. And lastly, take a bit of product on the finger again, and really just a tiny bit, and place it right on the tip of the nose. Take a finger without any product and blend that out, keeping it only on the tip but making sure there aren't sharp lines. And that's pretty much everything. It's like my routine for life. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one.